What's up, everybody? Sujin Patel here. I've got Syed Balkhi here again. Today, we're going to talk about buying and selling WordPress plugins. I want to reach out to you because I've read your blog post on this, and I don't know, you're one of the few people that is very transparent with their content and what you do. So without further ado, let's jump in. So you buy and sell this WordPress sites, or plugins.
Yeah.
How does that work? Tell me the basics.
Yeah. So what many people don't know is that I run a website called WP Beginner, which is the largest WordPress resource site. And now I say what many people don't know is because my face is not everywhere on the website, right? It's barely the only way you'll find it that I run it is if you go to the about page. And being the largest WordPress resource site, we see a lot of the things that small businesses or the bloggers or the DIYers are struggling with. And we do a survey, like, if you could have us build one product, what would it be? And how much would you pay for it? Because, it's the easiest customer to sell to is the customer that you already have. And we have a pretty large list. So we look at the survey data and then look at the market of what's available. And would anyone sell to us? So that's pretty much how we've gone about building or acquiring plugins. A lot of it is cold outreach. Because I've been in the WordPress ecosystem for the last 12, 13 years. This is 2006, so 13 years. I know a lot of the plugin authors. I know a lot of the very well-known influencers in the space who might have WordPress plugin companies, and I would just talk to them. For example, like Monster Insights, I acquired from Yoast. It was called Yoast Analytics, and everybody who has done anything with SEO knows Yoast SEO, right? So. Yeah. Me and Yoast just talked over Skype, and I was like, dude, that's like, I'm looking to get an analytics, and he's like, I have this analytics plugin. You want to take over? And then I just bought that plugin for him.
Nice. So one of the things I want to just make sure the listener or the watcher or viewer gets here is that you have your marketing and user base, your marketing apparatus, which is WP Beginner, and you have the users to survey people what they want, so you can build or buy. And then because of that, I'm paraphrasing or summarizing, you've been able to build connections, your personal brand, legit connections through the WordPress community. So, and you do outreach, but if I got an email from you buying my company, I would already know, like, this guy's legit, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So yeah, that makes things super easy. And then because I understand the ecosystem, I can also reach out to people who I've never interacted with and just say, hey, I see you have this plugin, and we're trying to solve this problem. Are you interested in selling? For example, we bought WP Mail SMTP from a developer named, I believe his name is Callum. Maybe I'm mistaking it. But yeah, I reached out to him and just said, look, you have this plugin. It's a very good, side product for WP Forms. We want to solve this problem in WP Forms. We would love to acquire it and then solve the problem in a larger scale, or we can just build that feature in WP Forms. And he was very open to it. He's like, yeah, this is a side project I built because I solved the problem. Because most WordPress developers are really building products because they want to solve the issue for the larger user base, and they're very, very good people. And he was like, yeah, I would love for you to dedicate more resources to it. So I acquired the plugin. At the time, it had 600,000 websites using it. And now it's running on over 1 million sites just because, we did the whole plugin and it's 100% free.
Nice.
Yeah.
So tell me what you look for in a company. What are you looking for? So you already said, you're looking at companies when you reach out based off of what feature and things you're looking for, and your customers have told you, but is there any part of the business or product that you look at?
Yeah, so over the years, I've also invested in several companies like MemberPress and Familiar Form, Pretty Links, and all that. I'm looking at the team that's running it, because a lot of times I end up keeping the same team. Like MemberPress is the same team exists. Blair is the CEO of MemberPress. I'm just an investor in that business, right? An investor advisor. So of course, looking at the team to make sure there's a solid team there. I don't have to replace too many people. I'm looking at the product quality. Is it following the user experience? Do they have good reviews? It's really hard to turn around a product that has a terrible reputation. And with our business all about reputation, we need to align ourselves with folks who have good reputation. Otherwise, they will bring everything else down as well. And then last but not least, of course, we look at the revenue numbers, the churn numbers, all the normal metrics that you would look at.
Awesome. Yeah. And what's the biggest factor?
For me, like, the biggest factor is the team and the, product reputation. From the valuation point, of course, the revenue numbers is a big factor.
Right. So
Um,
yeah, how much you're going to pay for it.
right. Yeah.
Right. And do you,
Um,
based off that, like based off revenue and health, the company, do you have like a factor? You don't have to share this specific number, but you have a number like, okay,
yes.
this is the range of multiple we pay. And
Yep.
uh,
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pretty formulaic approach. We don't really negotiate. This is the multiple we're willing to offer. That is a multiple the deal has to be done at.
nice. It's like, it reminds me of CarMax. It's like, they know their freaking numbers.
Right.
They just go and say, this is what we need. And it's a very formulaic approach.
Right. And we try to make the deal very simple. We don't try to, do too many like earn-outs or complicated deals. This is the deal. This is as simple as it is because I want to make sure it's easy.
Mhm.
Because a lot of the, WordPress entrepreneurs that are selling it is their first business. Maybe this is the only business that they've ever done. So I want to make sure it's as simple. There's like, and clear for everybody involved.
Awesome. And let's get in the nuts and bolts in this and share what you're comfortable with here. You're buying WordPress. I'm assuming some of them were international and all that stuff. When you buy the company, do you create a new corporation? You put them in yours? How does that work?
Yeah, so we always try to keep every entity separate. Just more of like a private equity model.
Yeah.
We'll usually get a new LLC created for acquisition. If it is if it's the same one and they're in the right jurisdiction, we try to stick in Delaware for the most part. So yeah, then we just move their jurisdiction over. So I keep them in separate entities. It makes things a lot easier for keeping the financials clean, keeping separate tax returns. Which are just really
Liability,
helpful
I'm assuming too,
from a
right? Like,
liability point of view. Of course, that plays a big role. But because the way the structure is, like I mentioned, I've operated it like a private equity. It helps a lot when you're looking to exit out of a business. Like when we exited out of our photography suite and then Enviro Gallery and Soliloquy, having those be separate LCs, the very clean financials, separate tax returns, our expenses are, everything. The intercompany invoices are very clean. It just makes it easy if you have an institutional buyer coming in or somebody's getting financing, or have investors, they can easily buy it, and it's not like, it's
yeah,
not like muddy, like, what a lot of small businesses,
yeah.
they're not very clear on everything.
Almost every single, so we also acquire businesses specifically in SaaS, B2B SaaS. Every single company I've looked at, it's always messed up financials. What you pretty much said of why you keep it clean, it's the exact opposite of that. It's like, hey, like, where's this coming from? And like, oh yeah, like my grandma wrote me a check one time. I needed $10,000. I wrote her a note back, but I paid her in like 7 increments. It's like, hey grandma, like, are you embezzling for the company or is this actually kickback? We know, right? So,
Yep.
or more not embezzling. It's more of like, was this artificially inflated revenue? That's
Right.
more of the concern, right?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's so true. So let's switch gears, talk about selling for a bit. So you've sold how many businesses?
So we sold the WordPress businesses. We sold two that were relatively decent size. I've sold like other plugins that we created, like one to like a Swiss ad tech company that had like an advertising plugin, but that's not like our bread and butter. So we exited that. Photography suite we sold in 2017. I've sold my popular blog I had, like List 25, that are like millions of YouTube subscribers, and I sold that last year. So I've had my fair share of exits over the last years.
What can you share? Like, what's lessons learned? Can you give me like the top 3 or 4 things?
Yeah, number one, of course, is like having the clean financials and separate tax returns. Like it
Yeah.
helps a lot. And now if you're going through a broker, you'll see I think too many buyers are in the SBA finance. Things like SBA is financing like transactions of 16, 20 million, even beyond. So you want to make sure your books are squeaky clean, right? So just having very clean financials from the beginning is like by far like the best thing. Another thing is like just document your processes, right? How you do things. It's gonna be very, very easy for you to hand off the business to somebody else, because I'm assuming of course you want the business to do well when you sell because you care for your customers, right? So we try to document everything. So when the new owner is coming in and taking over, it's very, very easy for them to come in, which makes it easier for us to exit and step out, right? Because otherwise you're stuck on the hook for like 90 days or whatever, 45 days of training and whatnot.
And
So that's
it can be painful, right? Like,
very painful.
yeah.
Yeah, and time consuming because you'll be on the call trying to record and a meeting and screen sharing and blah blah because you didn't document your process. So because as we were growing and we're a very lean team, so we have to rely on efficiency. So documenting the processes were very important. We always we retain brokers for transaction because we don't have the time to do a lot of things. Like I mean the transaction I did with a Swiss company, that was more without a broker, right? That was but like
it's more of like an ad hoc. That's like an anomaly.
Yeah, exactly. So, but you want to run a process kind of thing. So bring on a broker. You can do your due diligence. I'm not going to try to put one broker up above others. I know all the different website brokers in the space or various M&A firms. Do your due diligence. Everything is negotiable. I would just say that. But yeah, you use a broker. The good ones will guide you through the whole process. They're on your side. They're able to like handle everything. Like when I was selling list 25, I was like driving around Utah's national parks. I sold this 25 and bought 3 companies during that 20 days while I was traveling. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't have the right people on the team. So having a broker is very important because it improves the process. Because when we're selling the business, like my reputation is kind of online because all the people were using it, they learned about the product through WCB Gunner. I want to make sure I'm selling it to the right buyers. And this is you say, oh, sellers can't be choosers, but yeah, you can be.
You can.
Yeah, you got to interview the buyers diligently. Because I've seen like so many deals gone south because some shady guy bought a WordPress plugin just for a user base and then spammed the hell out of the user base. So I was like, very, very diligent in the people I was interviewing who had offers. And so that was very good. And then also just be rational, and patient throughout the process. Sometimes I feel like, at least when I'm on the buying side, I feel sometimes the selling entrepreneurs are not very rational in their valuation or some of their expectations. But being on the buying side, I've learned that you gotta exercise a certain level of rationality and patience when you're on the selling side. There will be times when deadlines are never going to be met. Like closing dates have to be extended because somebody's legal team was slow. Somebody's financing didn't clear. Like those things happen. It's part of every transaction. You're not alone. It's not unique to you. Just keep your tempers down, frustrations low. Just be calm. I would say be unreasonably calm during all circumstances.
This is not a time to have high emotions, right?
Right. Yeah.
But this is the time where emotions get super high because a broker, when you're selling, somebody might look at your business and be like, well, like you didn't do this and that, this and the other. They're not saying you suck as a person.
Right.
They're just looking at the business objectively and saying, well, this is a big hole. And sometimes you're like, oh crap, that is a big hole. Maybe I should go fix it myself, or whatever. Right. So, one of the things I always tell people is when I like sometimes when I buy companies, I have to coach the seller. I'm like, look, I'm going to put my buyer hat on. I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to take it off and give you advice because you need help, dude. And I want to get this deal done, and I want to help you not die through this process because I don't want to. This is not my objective, right? But I tell people when you get an offer, that is the very start of the process. Don't go buy a Ferrari. Don't go buy a Ferrari regardless. It's a waste of money. I bought one and I deeply regretted it. But yeah, it's the beginning of the process.
Yep, absolutely.
And lawyers. You're obviously hire lawyers.
You have to have lawyers.
I know it's a stupid thing to say, but hire a lawyer. I've bought 11 companies now. One company I bought without the seller hiring a lawyer. It's the only company I've had that has had major problems with the seller because they didn't hire a lawyer until after there's a problem. And we had an earn out and let's just say everything didn't go as planned. Well, the guy's hiring a lawyer after the fact and obviously, it's not good. He's not as protected, but that's his problem. Anyways, awesome. Syed, like, thank you for this. So there you have it. That's the kind of rundown on buying and selling WordPress plugins, and really buying and selling any type of business, because I think the same things apply. Next up, we're going to talk about building and hiring a team, and be sure to check out other videos on running multiple companies and whatnot.